don't know if I'm going to do my full opening or what.
Do the full opening. I want the full Mountie. I want to see how it's done by a professional.
All right. Ready?
Go.
This is Hard Parking, brought to you by Right Honda and Right Toyota out of Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm your host, Jhae Pfenning, coming from my home studio, recording from my home studio. So you can throw me off.
Sorry.
In Gilbert, Arizona, hanging out with my boy, Mr. James Holloway. Second time on the podcast, first time in studio. So I guess that's what's coming up on this show after this word from SparkForge. Business tech feeling whack? Too many tools, too much chaos, not enough time? Arcus Foundry is here to fix that. With SparkForge, you get a unified platform that connects everything you need. Your website, social media, phone systems, and more. There is no need for an expensive IT department or dealing with a bunch of separate systems. It truly is the all-in-one solution that saves you time and helps your business run smoother. Head over to arcusfoundry.com and use the code HARDPARKED to get your first month free. Upgrade your tech and get back to business. Mr. Holloway, welcome back to Hard Parking. Before we get started any more on this, feel free to fill yourself up with your second cup of Blanton's Gold.
You know, I almost feel like you called me out, but...
Tell us why you picked Blanton's Gold to drink today.
Quite frankly, I haven't had it in maybe 6 to 8 months. So it is so good that every opportunity I get a chance to get it, I do.
You've basically had 6 to 8 months worth of a pour just today. So I'm going to take this bottle.
Hide it.
And I'm going to take it from you and put it behind my desk where all the rest of the bottles live until they miraculously get emptied.
Plus, I almost paid $40, $45 for a pour that at the airport.
I'd say cheers, but I feel like half of what you just poured is already missing.
I don't know what you're talking about, but cheers. Uh-oh.
Oh, shit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, don't.
I almost lost it.
Yeah.
Almost lost it.
So, man, what are you doing in town?
I am in town on business. We have a couple clients here, so this was a quick, easy day-and-a-half trip.
What do you do?
I'm a senior underwriter for a small MGU, and for people who don't know what that is, we basically underwrite health claims for large groups, employers, municipalities, that kind of stuff. So we have what we call producers, basically people who bring us business, and in an effort to keep that business flowing, we come out and visit. We may do wine and dine, lunch, hugs and kisses, and then we get back on the plane. I go back home.
No. How long have you been doing this?
Oh, my gosh. Since 2007.
How'd you get into it?
By accident. I was an HR person at Jhae Fridays. Fridays was going through a transition to where hospitality and family eateries was getting through a tough, rough patch. And I felt, you feel your spidey sense goes off. Like, they weren't downsizing yet, but they were using language that you use when you downsize. Like, hey, how about we start collaborating with other departments and share, you know what I mean? Let's share. Let's get some of this work off your back. And then it became, we had an entire department that was doing our payroll. And then next thing you know, 2 people from PeopleSoft came in and totally eliminated the payroll department. So we were next. So anyway, long story short, they were hiring. No, I'm just joking. Long story short.
You said Jhae Fridays?
Yeah, Jhae Fridays.
You missed them?
I missed.
Are they closed? Did they announce one of those chains?
What they did was they're done, but the any people who own a franchise can now operate independently. So there's no longer a Jhae Fridays owned restaurant. But yeah, and so I had a friend who worked in this industry. I interviewed with them before I started at Fridays. It didn't work out. They called me back and they were like, "Hey, we really want you to come on board." And I'm like, "Perfect," because I feel like in another month I'm going to be unemployed. And it went from there.
Want to talk about cars?
We can talk about cars.
How's your Mustang?
It's a Mustang. The new Mustangs are struggling. Like, we'll say, I'm not going to use that T word that everyone's talking about right now, but I'm going to use it, tariffs. So Ford is basically saying they'll give us employee pricing on a new Ford.
For like 90 days, I thought.
For 90 days. However, my car is a 2020 with 31,000 miles on it. So they really want to get in a lot for a used car. So they were like, how about we'll give you a 2025, we'll give it to employee pricing, and we'll give you almost, I think it was 70% of the value of the car if I sold it.
So
I'm debating it. I really don't
Okay.
want another car. No, my car will be paid off in October. I really don't want to do that.
well, congratulations with that.
Thank you. But
So I had my friend Jhae Mullins in studio a couple months ago, and we talked about the tariffs as it relates to vehicles and the value, loan to value, and all that kind of stuff. So you have to be careful buying a car in the tariff market.
yes,
It's interesting, though, with Ford doing the employee pricing, friends and family employee pricing. Hopefully, I mean, in theory, that kind of offsets it a little bit.
it does.
It's also weird, though. It's Ford. I don't know where all their cars are built, but obviously they're not all built here, or there's some major components that are built not here. I don't know if it's Canada or Mexico.
Well, I mean, I'll give you an example. The sync system, which I have my own hot sports opinion about those. But yeah, a lot of those components come. That was the reason.
What's your
Which one?
opinion on those?
I'm
What's
not
your
a fan.
hot take?
My hot take is I'm not a fan. I mean, it is a Microsoft product and it has its kinks. And I had a coworker who had the first iteration of the sync, and he has the same problems in, I think it was 2005 that I'm having today. You know,
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
It's
Well,
20
it's,
years.
everything goes through the AC, for example. You can't use the AC without the sync system. So if it gives you some headache, then the AC may blow cold, it may blow warm, it may not blow at all. It struggles with Apple CarPlay, but you know, so you have to just reboot it sometimes. But yeah, I mean, it's just not the greatest product.
So it doesn't look like they've done much updates to the software.
No.
What
And
would
weird
you
on
get?
that.
What would you get if you weren't looking at a new Mustang? Why a Mustang?
The Mustang to me was one of those cars where I told myself when I became a grown up, where I didn't have kids and all that other stuff, that I really wanted a car that I thought would be fun to drive. And the Mustang has always been a car I enjoy driving. So
And what you mean by not having kids is
we drove SUVs and sedans my entire adult life almost.
because you got kids.
Yeah. But
Grown kids.
Grown kids, that's the
You're
thing.
old.
Yeah. When Jordan turned 18 and I decided that when he had his first car, I am no longer going to buy a sedan. My last sedan was a Honda. It was a Honda Accord. And I'm like, that car was great. He decided he wanted his own car. I was going to pass it down to him. He told me he didn't want it. And I'm like, okay, at this point, I'm not buying another sedan. And we definitely got away from the SUVs until Toya bought another SUV.
The Infinity.
Yes, the Infinity, which I think is an amazing machine. And I hope we're on our third Infinity. I hope we keep buying them.
Well, I don't know if they're going to keep making them. They have plans, but being a Nissan product, Nissan's on the fritz. So we'll see what happens with that.
So my question to that is the conversation about mergers and Nissan. I am asking you, what's your take on that?
I don't really have a strong take on that. None of that really matters to me. I think that if Nissan, because their sales are obviously low for the most part, that I didn't see it as a merger to create a new company. I saw it more as Honda stepping in. And
Bailing them out?
Yeah, just like Ford bails everybody else out. So, my thought is it would have been Honda with a 52% ownership, and then someone had to decide, okay, the design language, you're going to keep your design language. Are we merging? Because most of us, like car people, we're like, oh, they're going to come out with a GTR NSX.
Ooh, that would have been nice, but no, that's not happening.
No, that's not happening. That's not happening. But for whatever reason, there's rumors out there of why the talks fell through. But I think there's someone else trying to work with Nissan right now. So I think Nissan will probably be fine. They'll have to scale back some production. That's my opinion. I haven't really fully researched it, but that's my opinion on the whole merger situation. It happens all the time. But my thought is, yeah, it would have been more of a bailout. We now own your ass.
Right.
But you can do what you want for now.
I mean, I hope they continue to make the Infinity. I think it's a fine product. If not, we wouldn't have three. Or Jordan is still driving our 2015,
Which Infinities you guys have?
the Q50, and he's hit just right around 155,000 miles on it.
I test drove a 2022 Q50 back in 2022, maybe 2023. It's when they had kind of the dual screens inside.
Which they still have.
Yeah, but it's cool, but I guess they were kind of disconnected. They didn't really make much sense. But I love the interior, everything. It's just, we almost bought an Infiniti Q60, QX60, the remod from a couple years ago, and we ultimately went with the MDX because it's Acura, and I got us a sweet deal at the dealership that I bought my NSX from.
That's because who you are.
Yeah, well, it's just because that's where the dealership is. Yeah,
I'm
shout
giving
out
you
to
your
Tempe
props.
Acura.
I'm giving you your props. It's like when Jhae Pfenning walks into a dealership. No, it doesn't work that way.
No,
Okay, I'm sorry.
we could pretend it does.
Okay.
So if at Acura of Tempe
Mm-hmm.
in Arizona, when Jay Finney walks in and says, "I want to buy a car," yes, because they would do that for anybody. They do that for James Holloway.
I would hope so, but
Yeah, but they gave us a crazy deal, and that may have had a small part of it. I know the general manager is a great guy, but I think we made the right choice because the Acura's value retention is a little better, and it's a lease.
oh, awesome.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it hasn't been perfect.
Yeah.
The EPA, the head of the EPA, has come out and said that they were going to kind of battle the start-stop thing. I think I brought that up last
did?
night at the bar.
My take is I think they should just get rid of it because, I don't like it.
Why don't you like it?
I don't like it. It's just one of those things where when driving a car, I always feel like the car and the driver should kind of be in sync. And it just feels weird when the car is making a decision that I wouldn't make. It's like I tell people all the time, like, I love my Mustang, but it's the transmission is a 10-speed transmission. So from first to third, the car wants to fight. And I'm like, it took me a while to get used to that. But you learn. I mean, you drive a car for 5 years, you figure it out. The start-stop function to me never felt like it was something that was needed. It just felt like something they felt like you needed. And so every time I get in the car and they would do it, I'm like, this is counterintuitive with my driving. It's like, sure, I get it. You're telling me that this is better than the car sitting idle. But it just seems so abrupt. And
Yeah. It's like, wait, what the?
yeah. And it seems like you're fighting your own car. You're like, I don't want to fight my car. I don't want to have that. And I never got used to it. So, and I know a lot of people complain because it throws them off. Like a lot of people drive based on sound. I hear my car running. I hear my car idle. Put my foot in the gas. There's no hesitation. And a lot of people got used to that. But I just never got used to it. So I think it's a matter of personal preference, but
I think it differs also from manufacturer to manufacturer.
the hardest I've ever felt was BMW.
Now, with the one you guys have rented right
The one
now?
we rented now is much better than when I first got in a BMW 5 years ago or 6 years ago. It was, it was just so strange to come to a stop and then the
Yeah.
hard start. And now they've done a better job at it. I assume they've been working on it, but it was just so weird to get to a light and just hit that hard silence. Just
It felt unsafe to me because the first time I experienced it was driving my friend's car in Wisconsin, a TLX. And when you're crossing traffic to turn left if you're in the right lane or if you're in the middle between traffic in one of those little turn lanes, and it's just very disruptive. It felt like it took the TLX a long time to kick in because you're right. It's this and nothing. Car turns on, then you move.
right.
Whereas now it seems a little more seamless. But even the MDX, I have it set, and I swear that underneath my setting, it doesn't do that. And then it did it. So but last night I was thinking about that on the way to meet you guys, you and Cade, at your hotel when you came in. I was like, oh, maybe because I have my settings saved, it's not doing it. And the very next time I stopped,
It did
it. So they say that there's actually, and I'll have to find the article because I like to try to cite this stuff in the notes, but there is a correlation of fuel efficiency improvement somewhere between like 5% and 20%, which I
Really?
find hard to believe. And one of the things that I watched, I think CBS said that most people don't like it because they think that it's disruptive to their motor, like the start and stop. And I'm like, this isn't 1982.
Well, I mean, you have people who still believe like I don't know how often you use a remote start. And they're like,
We have it for the MDX.
yeah,
That's the only
I
car
don't like
we've
that
ever had it.
function. I think it's draining the battery or blah, 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 blah. Everyone has their own hot sports opinion. But like you said, the intent I get. It's how it feels when I'm driving that I struggle with.
So it doesn't actually drain the battery or do any of that stuff, according to some research. Like I said, no one fucking cares.
No.
People are annoyed with the start-stop. The Avengers A button is what I call it.
It is the Avengers A button when you look at
Yeah.
it. You're right.
You know, and all of us, most of us disable it as soon as we get in the car.
Oh, man.
Just like the lane assist and all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's crazy because even in the rental car we're in the BMW, the first thing we did, we sat in the parking lot at the airport and we did two things. One, we synced our phones to the car so we can listen to our own music. And two, the next thing we did was we disabled it without even like debating it. It was like, no, do this and then do that. And I get it.
Did you see that Dodge, and I talked about this in the most recent episode, a couple episodes ago, but Dodge just canceled the EV Charger RT due to terrible sales. 3,500 of them are sitting on lots, and they want almost like $68,000 for that car with a better version coming out. I thought I saw a flash on my phone that said they've canceled all of them, but I haven't had time to research that. I don't think they're canceling all of them. Would you consider an EV?
Not that one, but I would.
Why?
Well, because Dodge has basically put themselves in a lane that car, most of the cars like that are made for speed. You want a car that sounds and looks the part. When I test drove one.
Oh, the EV?
Yeah, I test drove the EV.
Okay.
There's a Dodge dealership like 5 minutes from my house. I had to take my car to get service, and the dealerships are side by side. So I walked in like Joe Blow. Hey, I see you have these on the lot. Blah, blah, blah.
They
blah,
go,
blah.
ooh, black guy. I know he wants this.
They love this.
I know he wants this.
He wants this. Like every black guy wants, a Hellcat. Like
Yeah.
I almost feel like that is like how Sprite became the drink of black people. That became the car for black people. Totally incidental. I don't think it was intentional.
Lincoln? What was that Lincoln that everyone was driving in the late 90s, early 2000s?
With the Navigator or the other one?
It was a car.
Oh, man, I know what you're talking about. I got to think about it.
It was like the Lincoln Mark something.
It was a Mark something, and everyone wanted it.
Every black dude
Yes.
had that car.
But I don't know how. Like, it's so funny that Dodge was like, oh, is that what's going on? Okay, well, let's push that as an option to sell to a certain demographic. And then you basically pull the rug from up under them and say, well, we're not going to stop making this car. We're going to make this car. But hey, we can make it sound like the other car. That's the part I struggle with. Like, if it was just a regular EV, fine. But you basically said we've been making cars that push out 550, 600, 700 horses. We're going to give you an electronic car that sounds like that just so people can be satisfied that it sounds like a muscle car.
What was the growl? What did it sound like?
Oh, my gosh, dude. It sounded
Can
like...
you do it? Can you do it in the microphone?
Hold on. And it
Freaking
was...
Michael Winslow over here.
Yeah, I know, right? And it was so weird because it seemed so artificial. Like, and this is coming from a Mustang owner, which Mustang
Right.
has the similar setup with their exhaust. And
Wait, hold on. When you bought your Mustang, and then you're thinking about buying this 25, did you have to sign somewhere on the contract that you would rev? Anytime you saw a crowd of people or went through a parking lot, did you have to sign something that says
no,
you would
I
just
didn't
like,
have
boom?
to. But I do now, like, you know how people talk about the Jeep wave? Mustang guys have to, once they see each other, have to rev each other. And it's hilarious because I'm not a douche. So I don't do it. So every time a guy comes, like, pulling like side by side, or I see him come down the street, it says, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'd rather just wave at you. I'm sorry. I'm not built that
You should
way.
give him a thumbs up. You should stick your hand out the window and be like,
Well, it's hilarious because it's like Mustang owners are such a diverse group. It's an 18-year-old kid who thinks he's cool, going back to the Hellcat. Or it's a 65-year-old guy who's been driving Mustangs since the 60s, right? And they all have the same opinion. I drive a Mustang. It's the best car ever made. And I'm like, well, I drive a Mustang, but I know damn well it's not the best car ever made. And they give you the vroom, vroom, and then it's like, how long have you had your Mustang? I don't know, dude. It's a 20. I've had it since 20. Are you a Mustang guy? Yeah, I would consider myself a Mustang guy. Okay, well, this is my third Mustang. Great. I'm happy for you. I'm not entrenched in the culture. I just like the car. But back to your question about the EV, I wouldn't drive an EV that's pretending to be something else. It's like, let's look at the Prius. The Prius never lied to us. It's an ugly car. To me.
even the redesign?
The redesign looks better than the old version, but to me, it's like when you buy a Prius, you're not trying to, like, no EV owner is cool unless you're driving a Tesla. So says a Tesla guy.
All right.
But again, these are my hot sports
The
opinions.
the Porsche Taycan
is a beautiful car, and it is
and
cool.
the Audi e-tron is pretty nice too.
Pretty nice. Hell, even the Cadillac Lyriq is starting to grow on me.
No, that's just ugly.
I don't care,
The
but
taillights on it are just.
that's the problem, the
yeah,
taillights. But
yeah.
the interior and the other aesthetics, it look great, but the
Yeah.
taillights are horrible. But, it's pretending to be something else. Just buy an EV and say it is what it is. And Jeep should follow suit. Don't give me a Jeep that's an EV. I mean, I'm sorry.
I think there is one, right?
There's
a
an
Wrangler, right?
Yeah, the Wrangler E. And I'm like, no, if I wanted a Wrangler, just give me a Wrangler. So long story short, no. I just think that I don't like that particular EV. But I would drive. I think most Americans at some point would come around on EVs.
I agree. I would totally take an EV as a daily.
Yes.
And then I still have my fast car. But I don't want my fast car to be necessarily an EV.
And I don't want my fast car to be an EV pretending to be a fast car.
With the sounds.
Yes.
Right. So Acura is working on a next sports car. I'll take an EV as a daily. I don't want it to be my high-performance car. Because at the end of the day, and that's one thing I realized with my old NSX, we've worked hard, we ICE owners, internal combustion engines, to make our cars fast, to modernize our cars, and then you pull up to a light and there's a Tesla Model 3 with someone who doesn't give a fuck about cars that will blow your doors off.
Well, have you been in a Plaid when in insane mode?
I've never been in a Plaid, but I already know.
It is insane.
Yeah.
And you're right. They don't give two fucks about the fact that your car is probably one of the most mechanically amazing cars ever built. They only care that they can go 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds or something, whatever that number is.
But that's one of those things where it's like, wow, this is where we're at. I no longer care.
Mm-hmm.
This is cool, but I still want an internal combustion engine with a hybrid, if need be, for my fun car.
Yeah.
Because of that fact.
Like, I mean, when I went to the dealership, the guy was like, hey, your Mustang's in really good shape. Are you looking at a new one? I'm like, I'm debating it. He goes, okay, well, I mean, with your car.
What an incredible pickup line.
I know, right? It made me feel like that I was really the prettiest girl on the lot that day.
Yeah.
So then he goes, do you want another Mustang? I'm like, well, you know, they have the GT, the GT Premium. I mean, and then the next step up is
GT Premium.
Yeah. Which in Texas
is that like the Eddie Bauer version of the Mustang?
It pretty much is. And the funniest thing is, it's like in Texas. I mean, I'm sure in Arizona. I mean, I don't know how many people want a leather interior when you're dealing with 110 degree.
I'll take one every time. Still,
I still struggle with that, and I do appreciate those who do. But that's the only really difference in maybe some of the trim options, like the maybe the wheels you get like chrome instead of the black painting or whatever. But it was hilarious as the guy was like, the premium is our nicest trim and it comes with this, this, and this. And I'm like, but for another $10K, like, am I getting all my money's worth for that $10K? But what I'm alluding to is that the next thing he said was, he goes, well, you got kids? I'm like, no, I have kids, but they're grown. He goes, but I was like, I said something to my granddaughter. Oh, well, the Mach-E. And I'm like, I'm not interested. I'm just not.
Yeah.
If that's what I came to buy, I would
trying to sell you on the SUV, SUV Mach-E.
Yeah, and he goes, well, I mean, yeah, and like you mentioned, it's like it's an EV and it does 0 to 60 and da-da-da-da-da. And if you get the sports packages, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, that's not the car I want as a daily driver for fun. Like, to your point, if I was using that as a commuter car, great.
Are those expensive?
No, I mean, you can start off in the mid-30s. They probably
which isn't a lot for an EV.
Which isn't a lot for an EV.
Especially when Dodge wanted $68,000 for the Charger RT EV.
I think the mid-tier is probably somewhere around 40, 45.
That's what I fucking said when I talked about on my a prior episode. I go, I would have expected this thing to be like a $40,000-$45,000 car. Now you're telling me it's a $68,000 car? No shot.
Well, it takes it out of the conversation of, if I'm paying $70,000 for a car, I have certain expectations. If you charge me $45,000 for it, my expectations are totally different. Like, I would probably buy that car for $45K.
Yeah. I personally think it's a good looking car.
I think it's a good looking car, but when you start telling me that you want $79,000 for it, I look at all my other options at that price point, and it doesn't fit the bill. That's just, I'm sorry. And the cool factor that people talk about, I'm like, I don't think that's worth the $79,000 to be cool.
That's like what's the motorcycle? Is it the Raptor? It's the 3-wheeled motorcycle.
Oh, yeah. The trike. People want to call it a trike, but it's a trike.
Remember those commercials? And they'd have like a whole bunch of people driving and they're turning together and you got the 2 wheels in the front, 1 wheel in the back. And I'm like, oh, that's never going to be that cool.
No. And then the funny thing about it is that there's a dealership like 10 minutes from my house. It's a I think they do Harley and something else and maybe Indian. I can't remember. But those bikes at first were like front line on the lot. Now you don't even see them. And when I see a guy on it, it's typically a guy 10 years older than me bumping, I don't know, like 90s hip hop, and he's with his boo. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Because he left a slingshot at home?
Because he left a slingshot at home. That's his other motorcycle, is his slingshot. He was like, but I'm like, no. I mean, it's just hilarious. I'm like, I don't know, man. That just doesn't age well. But I'm sure if I was a motorcycle guy, I would have a different opinion.
So let's talk about bourbon.
All right.
Because you're on your second glass of the Blanton's
Yeah,
Gold
my
that
favorite
I literally
bourbon.
just bought.
I like how you say it in a way where it's like, this thirsty motherfucker's drinking all my bourbon.
It's okay, because here's the deal. We go way back.
Way back.
We go way back to the mid to late 90s.
I put it this way. I knew Jhae when he had a waterbed.
Everybody had a waterbed.
Back then.
Everybody had, God, that waterbed, man. That was like the thing. Hey, I got a waterbed.
Dude,
Come over, I got a waterbed.
Let me ask you a question. And I'm asking this because I already know the answer, but I want to hear you say it. How much of a player move is it to say, you want to get in my waterbed?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Sure, we'll pretend like you don't know.
But I do know that Toya, your wife, girlfriend at the time, said that one day she's going to write a book.
Oh, I'm sure she will.
Yeah, so.
I'm waiting to see if she's going to do one of those tell-all books that you and I will both probably say, well, why didn't I have her sign an NDA?
Brandy and Brandy.
Yes.
Yes, so.
Well, my favorite is besides the waterbed, is the, how can I put this in a way that doesn't offend anyone? Not shrapnel, but hey, here's my friend so-and-so.
Fidel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about the one that had the old English tattoos across the chest. I had never seen
Can't
it.
talk about skeletons.
No. We're going to move on, though. But anyway, we go way back.
Fidel was my alias until I got busted one day. Is Fidel there? Jhae?
Jhae? Or, yeah. Jhae? No, I don't know. You know, I start pretending as if I don't speak English. Okay?
Yeah, so
Jhae? Huh? What? Some people like cucumbers better than pickles.
So, guys, I told a girl that I met that my name was Fidel Washington.
Which, by the way, is a cool alias. I mean, let's be honest. How many guys have you met that popped out with Fidel Washington?
That was Brandy with the IE, not Brandy with the Y.
Brandy with the IE.
Yeah. That was
Who, by the way, was one of the few people who, on the surface, I didn't know could crack crazy.
That might be Brandy with the Y.
Okay, which one would? Anyway, well, I'm not going to go down this road with you because we're going to start digging up a lot of
Brandy with the Y was the
pop crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Pop crazy. Yeah.
All right. Well,
she was
moving
pop
on.
Crazy. Brandy with the IE was pretty chill.
Okay. Moving on. We have known each other so long that we could do this all day.
Right. And then people who are listening to this or watching it on Spotify or YouTube are kind of getting an inside look of somebody who knows me.
Like truly knows you.
Back in the days where I feared for my life and had to carry a 380.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you were my roommate at the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing.
When Maine came in and threatened to kill everybody.
You're the only man I've ever lived with, if that means anything. But yeah, we had some crazy times. We had great times. I mean, we had 24. I try to tell someone who's much younger than us to explain to them playing Gran Turismo and me, you, and G trying to do the Le Mans.
Cars, yeah.
Yeah. So we were all doing shifts because we're trying to do.
Because you couldn't save it. The first Gran Turismo, maybe the second one, you couldn't save them when you did the endurance race.
Yes.
You had to finish the race.
You had to finish the race. So we had to work in shifts to get it done.
Tony.
And then the NBA Live tournaments that we had at the house. I mean, that's how old we are. But yeah,
I would own fools because I would pick the Bulls.
I'm not going to lie. You really did.
So the NBA Live is really where I think Curry learned.
Oh, 100%.
Shoot from the logo.
100%.
Because you could shoot from the logo with the right team all day.
No, all day. And I tell people it's hard to explain that, one, if you had a guy who was Jordan was what, a 98? Something like that. He was in the 90s.
98, 99.
98, 99.
Right.
If you chose to be a lame and put that thing on easy mode and play.
Oh, it's over.
Yes, it's over. I mean, you are Steph Curry.
Yeah. With anybody.
I
was hitting shots from half court with Tony Kukoc. with Paxson, Kerr.
Oh, Kerr and Paxson was a nightmare.
with Judd Bushler.
Bushler.
Bushler's underrated, man. He was a perfect role player for the Chicago Bulls, and he averaged, I don't know, 5 minutes a game, and he'd still get in there and get 3 fouls, 2 threes. And
When I give the guy
somehow
credit,
a dunk.
yeah, he made the best of his time on the court. But yeah, that was the beginning of the PlayStation was getting NBA Live and Gran Turismo.
Remember LaToya's Hyundai accent?
Okay, you want to know my memory of that
was
car?
The white car missing a bumper.
It was a white car missing a bumper because her sister at the time was one of the most awful drivers I had ever seen in my life. By the way, I love my wife to death, but at that point, she was an unlicensed driver of a Hyundai Excel. And that thing accent, you're right. And it had a, 2.8 liter engine, if that.
If that. It might have had a smaller engine than my Honda Z in the garage.
Yeah. Yeah. That thing, I mean, you really could outrun it. And it was funny. It was the first time I had been in a car where if you accelerated, you felt the AC go, oh, you want me to do less work? Sure, I'll get you to 60 miles per hour, but I'm going to blow at the lowest setting. But yeah, that was a raggedy car. But I mean, but the reason I bring that up is because that was a terrible vehicle. But meanwhile, I was rolling with Jhae in one of the best cars ever made.
The 1998 Acura Integra GSR.
There we go.
Smoking the DeJoram clove cigarettes.
Yep, and going over to, once a week, we would go over to 7-Eleven and do the big bite, buy one, get one free.
No, so that wasn't once a week. That was literally every day.
Was it every day?
Because your old man worked with somebody who worked with Paramount, or he worked with Paramount.
Yes, and they got basically he was printing coupons for 7-Eleven.
And we got a coupon book each.
We did.
And each coupon was like one free hot dog a day.
Yes.
And so we went to the same 7-Eleven because we worked together.
Yes.
Which is somewhere between our job and our house, conveniently, our apartment.
Yeah.
And so it got to the point we would go in there and the guy's like, so the coupon was just for a regular hot dog.
Yes.
But after like the third visit, the dude's like, okay, whatever you guys want. So I think we ate one of every type of dog or whatever the thing's rolling on 7-Eleven.
Oh, yeah, we had them all.
And no, I would do it again today.
I would. And it got super cool that we would go in there like our favorite. And to clarify, the reason why I worked out is we worked on, midday shift, 3 to 11?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. So you got two guys who are making absolutely no money.
No.
And we would, come home or be on our way home and like, man, I'm starving, but I have $2 to my name. Mm-hmm. And I would say it was a much better meal than ramen noodles. So we would go by our 7-Eleven guy, and the dude became super cool. At some point, I think he even stopped asking for the coupon.
Probably.
But it was such a regular occurrence. He was like, hey, what's going on, man? How you doing? How's it? And we would go in there and we'd do our big bite, and we tried every iteration of a big bite, and then we would go home, and that was dinner.
Remember the guy, Vernon, who worked with us? He had a Porsche 944, a red one.
Yeah.
And all the girls were like, oh, they wanted to hook up with Vernon so bad because he had a Porsche. He had like the shittiest Porsche ever. And being a car guy, I was like, so what? A car's a piece of shit.
8.
I don't even think I had a car at the time.
I'd actually
take a 944 now because there's some nice ones out there, like a 944 Turbo.
No, but his was a piece of shit.
His was a piece of shit.
Yeah, his was a piece of shit.
And,
but we're also talking about a guy who, I mean, we worked at a job where the average age
call center life.
Yeah, call center life. The average age was 19 for the reps.
I don't know.
But whatever it was, he to them he was a guy who was making it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you working at a call center with 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
But keep in mind that this was back then. That was the hottest thing ever made. To the women that we work with.
Shout out to the women we work with.
Shout out to oh my gosh, I almost forgot the name of that place.
ATC
Western Union.
Yeah, so calls to ATC or calls to Western Union may be monitored. That's what I did. I did the quality assurance. I'm the guy that would listen to people like James
while we were handling calls.
Yep. And then we had this one woman we worked with who was narcoleptic.
Oh my gosh, we had a couple crazies.
And her husband both worked there.
Yes.
And they were both weird.
Yes.
But she would fall asleep on the phone. And so I would watch her screen, and you could tell because when she's typing in the person's name and she's typing in Kevin, and then there's this KEVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVV she's asleep again.
Yeah, to shoot her the message.
Yeah,
How many
you
times
could shoot her a
yeah.
message that would be disruptive on the screen. It'd be like,
Yes.
beep. I'm like, wake your ass up.
Right.
You know? Oh, Lord. But the thing is, one of our best friends, Doug's dad worked there too. He was a supervisor.
Yeah.
And then your mother worked there. She was
how
a
I got
team
the job.
leader
She was a
supervisor.
team leader supervisor. That's how I got the job.
Yeah. And so she was my supervisor. And that's how we met.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And this is, we're talking 96.
96, 97. Because I think I left and we both tapped out at, 98?
I think I left first.
You left first.
Did you go when they transferred to another location?
So I didn't have a choice.
Like in Carrollton or something?
No,
Or Addison or somewhere.
It was in
somewhere
Addison.
north.
It was in Addison. I didn't have a choice because basically they moved the contract. So in order for you to get all of your money on the way out the door, you had to agree that you would go to the new location, at least for I think it was like 6 weeks or something.
They changed names too, I thought.
Aegis.
Yeah, we went from ATC Western Union to Aegis.
Yeah, and they put us on a new campaign. I mean, because they yanked the Western Union contract, so we ended up doing other stuff. But yeah, it was hilarious that you and I met because my mom was your boss, and I eventually got the job because my mom said, "Hey, you want to work here?" And I'm like, "Sure, I need a job." And then over time, you became QA, and then we pretty much had another good friend of ours, Doug. His dad was also, so we pretty much could do what we wanted.
I was a stickler though, man.
You were because you were basically part of management, so you had to be.
Because I don't care if it's, and that's kind of where I learned the lesson that I took forward in life. I don't care if you're my best friend. If my job is to make sure you don't fuck up, I'm gonna make sure you don't fuck up. And I've given either you or Doug a 0 before.
No. I mean, because we were fucking up.
Yeah.
I mean, it got to the point that we just stopped caring. So it was a couple times where like, so the biggest move would be, what would we do? Whatever they call it, gate 5, where you can log out.
I don't remember.
So my mom was bringing this up the other day. So you can log out and say you're doing something else, but you would have to log back in and start taking calls. So
it's like wrap up time.
Wrap up time.
Yeah.
So we would log out and be like, fuck it. Or, I mean, we had some horrible calls, man. I mean, we're dealing with people who, there's nothing better than the guy calling you at 3 o'clock in the afternoon saying, my mama told me she sent me $50.
Yeah, that's the tape we would play in orientation. There was a guy who would call, and it was a real, because, again, calls are recorded for quality assurance.
Yes.
So we use that call, and it's a guy calling. He's like, man, where's my money? And he was so mad, and it was over like $50.
Yeah, it was. It was not like $1,000. And how you tell what sounded like a 36-year-old man that his mama didn't send the money? Right. That was his argument. He goes, my mama told me she sent me that money. So it was, but you appreciate this and we'll full circle. So Derek, who was your boss.
I remember Derek.
Still lives in Garland. And end up being one of those guys where you're like, man, I'm really glad he's not in jail. It's so surreal that when I talk to Corinne about him, it's like, yeah, D's still doing the same old stuff D was doing 25 years ago.
Uncle.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah, Corinne was cool.
And D was cool. I never had a problem with him.
We reconnected and said, what's up, just because we used to be like really good friends.
Yeah.
Amidst all the other drama. And like Derek was cool. One thing I remember about Derek is his brother died in a motorcycle accident, which is why he doesn't ride bikes.
Yep.
And then I forgot her name, but it was that girl that he dated. And there was some car accident or something.
Oh, you know what? She was in a coma forever.
I know. And I think that, and that's the last thing I ever heard about that. But that's just, it's crazy that how life comes at you that fast.
And it's insane that, you look at someone who, I mean, we're guys in our early 20s who are looking at someone who at that time was probably in his late 30s and go, oh, he's got it all together. It's just a perception is reality deal. It's just shocking that you go, okay, you look at it now, he's 60 and same problems he was having 30 years ago.
It's wild.
Didn't mean to bring the room down, but I mean, it was just crazy.
Yeah, man, you're fucking this whole thing up.
Sorry, man. Sorry. But it was just surreal because I talked to her like a month ago and she brought up him. And I'm like, I was like, what? He goes, yeah, same OD. Still mad at the system. Yeah. But
so,
moving on.
What are you going to do? Are you going to, full circle, what are you going to do with the Mustang situation?
I'm probably going to, between now and October, when I have to really make a hard choice, I'm probably going to go ahead and move with another one. I enjoy my car. I love driving it, but there are some things. I mean, like any car that you get a newer model, they've added some toys, some fun stuff that I'm like, I would
Those
like.
Those taillights are weird.
The taillights are weird. The they do something also where, depending on, again, we'll go back to the GT Premium. They do a couple things where they'll change the front fascia. They'll add like the. It's so weird that it used to be, the rule of thumb used to be, if you had a EcoBoost or below a GT, it was a dual tailpipe. And that's how you can tell the difference between one Mustang to another for Mustang guys, right? Then it became, we only do the quad tails on the premiums or some of the special editions. And then now it's like all bets are off. It just depends on the price point. If you want it, you pay for it. But to answer your question, I don't know. I'm really thinking that I really want to move into a new Mustang because it's got some cool stuff. I mean, the interiors, new tech. Oh, the new tech is it's got the wraparound, you know, LCDs that basically work as a full instrument cluster, and then you have it for a 10-inch screen for this. The interior is better. I will knock on Ford. Ford products have never had a really good interior. That's where they cheap out. They're a big fan of the fake carbon fiber.
Yeah. Like the hydro dip looking shit?
Yep.
Yeah.
They also like using as much plastic as humanly possible.
Cost, man.
No, I mean cost and weight,
cost,
right? Isn't that why you do it? You bring down the cost and bring down the weight of the vehicle. And
probably
then
cost, not weight. They don't give a fuck
I bet
about
you're right.
weight.
They don't give a fuck about weight. You're really 100% right. It's cost. Yeah. And then the seats where they're comfortable, but they just make them out of that. It fades. And I don't know if you've ever gotten a car that has cloth interior, but the driver's side gets most of the getting in and out damage, and it's very visible in most Mustangs. I just think that's one thing that they decided.
It's the bolster.
Yes.
Yep.
They decided, like, let's spend a little bit of money on that. And I like the look of it. At first, it was really a struggle looking at the new Mustang, but it's grown on me. So to answer the question, I'm probably going to get another one.
So remember in January that Barrett Jackson you said you're going to come to, but you didn't?
This is true.
Yep. So they had a lot of the new Mustangs there. And including that, I forgot the name of
the Dark Horse?
They had that, and then they had the 3-letter version. It's like $500,000 or $250,000. It's like $350,000. They had that one there.
Yes.
And then not Celine. Who else? What's the other? Not Celine.
No, not Celine. It used to be It used to be Roush was the other one.
I think it's Roush.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had a Roush one there, and it almost had the same horsepower as this other one.
Mm-hmm.
But that thing was sick.
No, I mean there are models.
If you get an entry level one, which you probably will, that's gonna look like dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get the nice one, those are nice.
No, those are nice. Like I will tell people to this day that they did the. I think it was the last time they did the GT 500, and
those are nice too.
Yeah, those are nice. And they did the Brittany Blue, the anniversary edition, and that thing was absolutely gorgeous. I'm not a guy who has $157,000 to spend on the vehicle.
You don't?
No, I don't. I know, shocking, but I did go to a lot and test drive one, and that was probably the most fun I've had, other than thinking about driving your car. Most fun I've had behind.
Did you drive my car?
I said no. I talked myself out of it. But I bet you I would have really enjoyed it when you were in Dallas. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. There are some Mustangs that look amazing, interior and exterior. But you know, I'm not I probably would say $60K price point guy. You have to get into the 90, 120s to start getting those type of trims and that type of model. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's
what about a CPO, certified pre-owned?
Those are fine. The problem is that there's just not a lot of inventory, at least in Dallas.
Right.
You know, if you find one, it's normally off the lot within 30 days.
Would you travel? Have you ever traveled for a car?
I did. Funny story. My cousin who lives in Memphis is a Mustang guy. I think he's the one that got me into it. So he basically said that Memphis has a dual municipality, so you get taxed twice. You get the county tax and you get the city tax. So he drove.
First off, you're already on.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you catch up. So he drove here to get his Mustang. So I was intrigued. So
here is in Dallas.
Here in Dallas. Right. Sorry, and I was intrigued by that. So the Infiniti, we went to Oklahoma, and that's where we got.
We're in Oklahoma.
Basically, right outside Oklahoma City. I mean, that's a 3.5 hour drive from my house. So they had a dealership that was basically doing a year-end clearance. They were getting rid of the 20s. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, you know, we have 5 models here. They're priced here. And they gave us a better financing option. So that was the one time I did it. I would do it with Ford, absolutely. Because in Texas, well, I wouldn't probably have to go out of state, but in Texas, there's so many of these small towns that have Ford dealerships that basically they don't get the foot traffic. So they'll be happy for you to come in. I mean, one place that's an hour from my house actually said they would deliver me a Mustang. And I'm like, cool. They said, yeah, we'll have a guy drive a second vehicle, follow that guy to your house, drop it off at your door.
Texas has a lot of, especially with the trucks, like Texas only edition.
Oh, Texas is a truck state, no doubt. And there's a lot of Texas editions. Every manufacturer has
I almost
one.
fell through the marketing. Weren't we supposed to talk about bourbon at some point?
We are. We got sidetracked.
I almost fell for the marketing leaving Texas. Not this last time, but one of my other trips. Because you go into like Specs, or you go into the liquor store in Amarillo or whatever when you're driving, and they have all these cool bottles that are shaped like Texas.
My favorite is
But you don't know if any of them are any good. Chances are they're probably not.
Well, I have a hot sports opinion. I don't like Texas whiskey. So getting back
You don't
to
like
the bourbon
TX at all?
I don't like. I mean,
Fort Worth?
it just Texas.
Garrison?
Garrison is awful. That's probably one of the worst things I put in my mouth. And I'm including when I was out there
They
dating.
have some good Garrisons, I think.
They have a couple, but man, that left a taste. I mean, it's like, but I'm one of these guys who, getting back to our conversation, well, if we're going to talk about bourbon, I love certain types of bourbon. I'm not a big fan of Tennessee whiskey either. I'm from Tennessee. You know, there's a certain Tennessee whiskey, the way they produce that whiskey, there's a certain taste to it. Same thing with Texas whiskey. They'll tell you that they can age a Texas whiskey in 3 to 5 years because it gets too hot, so they can age it faster. So they're young whiskey. You have to enjoy young whiskey. I may like it, I may not. I like Still Austin. I think that's one of the best produced whiskeys in Texas. But yeah, it is funny when you see a Crown Royal bag and they have a Texas flag on the Crown Royal bag because it's Texas. And people who come to Texas go, I want that bottle because it has the Texas edition or a Texas flag on it or whatever. They make a Rangers bottle. And people come in and buy it solely because it's a Rangers bottle. I mean, I get it. It's great marketing.
What's your go-to?
Whiskey?
Yeah, what's your go-to daily sipper?
There's a bottle.
You hooked me up with a bottle of McKenna.
You beat me to it.
McKenna
For the price point, it's a $60 bottle, and I think it's a 10-year bottle, and I think it's one of the best for that price.
Did you check baggage or did you carry on?
Carry on.
Well, then I can't give you no liquor.
No. But that's one of my favorites for 60. I think high end $64, average price $62. It's a damn good bottle. But I am learning that I've been introduced to Wild Turkey. I didn't used to be a Wild Turkey guy, but they have a couple bottles in that $50, $60 range that are actually really good bottles.
Now I've heard Wild Turkey, they do have some good stuff. Mentally, I think a Wild Turkey
One-on-one
is like a redneck's drink.
Yeah, the Wild Turkey 101 really is. It's like to some people how you view Jack or Jack Daniels or something.
And you know there's some excellent Jacks. It's like the tequila people that say I drank tequila in college and I'm never going to drink it again. It's because you had Jose Cuervo Gold.
Exactly.
And there's so many tequilas that are infinitely better. So I admit that Wild Turkey for me, like someone's going to have to say, okay, here's the Wild Turkey you need to try.
That's what it takes because that's what it took for me. So we have a mutual friend that I consider my friend Chase, who was chasing down a certain bottle. And I'm like, you're a bourbon guy. Like, why are you looking for this bottle? You know, and he's like, man, it's a really good bottle. And we went back and forth on some other bottles. And I have a coworker who got me a bottle of the Wild Turkey 70th anniversary bottle. It's a one-off. They made it last year. I don't think they're going to do. I mean, they're not. It's not going to be another 70th anniversary, but it's a really good bottle. And it was made by basically their main guy who was like, this is how I would like. I want this mash bill, and it tastes nothing like other Wild Turkey. So it went over so well that they were like, they came out with an 8-year that's similar but not the same. And I realized, I was like, they have another bottle of Rare Breed bottle. Really good bottle.
I've seen Rare Breed.
Yeah, it's a really good bottle. And I used to be, I mean, who are we kidding? Most people are brand recognition when it comes to bourbon.
Absolutely, because there's thousands of them.
There's thousands.
Same thing with Scotch, same thing with anything.
If you told somebody Macallan, I don't know anyone who goes, oh, I don't like Macallan. Even if they pretend
the
like
snooty purists say they don't. Because,
They don't.
Oh, it's really easy to drink. Well, yeah, that's why everyone fucking
that's why we want to fucking drink it. It's an 80 proof bottle of something that's really good, and it has brand recognition. I don't know a person who's never heard of Macallan, right?
Yeah.
So you go into Buffalo Trace and all the 100 different things they make. I'm exaggerating, but quite frankly,
They make a lot.
They make a lot.
Yeah.
And people identify with it because of the brand. Eagle Rare or Buffalo Trace.
You guys have a lot of like just Buffalo Trace?
We do, but it's so weird that Texas has a thing with Buffalo Trace where we've endeared ourselves to Buffalo Trace, and its release still limited.
We have it everywhere.
We have
I
it.
can go to any grocery store within 4 miles from here, and I can promise you they have Buffalo Trace.
Buffalo Trace in Texas, to the best of my knowledge, is still an allocated product.
Which is nutty to me.
I agree. But it is still an allocated product. When it drops on the shelf, people lose their mind.
Like just the Buffalo Trace that has the buffalo on
Just
it.
a regular Buffalo Trace. And
I got one in the closet, which is a Sazerac Buffalo Trace that I bought last weekend on the release, but it's a Fry's a local grocery store chain. Chain. But I'm like, all right, limit 4 bottles. No 2 bottles can be the same. So I grabbed this thing that you've killed half the bottle of tonight. A stag that I'm trading with Chase for a King Ranch.
Ooh, that King Ranch is really good.
I haven't had it yet.
Really good.
I have one in the closet I haven't opened up.
Really good.
But now that I'm going to get another one, I'm going to trade him so that I can open it up. And I forgot what else I got. But the point of the whole thing is they have a special Buffalo Trace. But other than the special one, I could go to any grocery store around here, and I can promise you there's going to be like 10 of them.
No, I'm
$29.
No, and that's the thing. I mean, it's crazy how I was introduced to Buffalo Trace with that bottle. Like we had Cade was coming to work one day, saw a line at like Specs or a Total Wine, I can't remember which one. Said, "Hey, I think they're having a drop. If they have something, do you want it?" I'm like, "Sure." I mean, this is when I'm getting early into bourbon. I said, "Sure." He calls me back and goes, "They have Buffalo Trace." I'm like, "I've never heard of that." He goes, "It's a good bottle. It's a great price point.
Right,
I'll get you the
100%.
bottle."
It's a good daily.
Good daily.
Good hourly.
Good, yes. Brings it to the office. That's funny you say that. Brings it to the office. That was my introduction to Buffalo Trace products. From that, I'm like, I like it. And then I started getting into like, what else do they have? What's their lineup? Well, Eagle Rare, Blanton's, And then I started leaning more towards those. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy that to this day, I was in Specs a week ago and they still had an allocated drop for Buffalo Trace.
If you ever need Buffalo Trace, let me know.
I'll let you know. I mean, Buffalo Trace is a good drink. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a good pour.
It's a good daily.
It's a good daily. I've just moved to their other products. Like, I mean, the Colonel Taylor is great, but my daily now has become like McKenna. I mean, it's always available. It tastes great. It actually makes a good mixed drink. Like, I use it for old fashions.
I think McKenna's kind of expensive for a daily.
It is, but I mean,
it's all regional too.
It's all regional.
What's $60 there could be $40 here or $70 here.
Right. And the
or
price,
not even available here.
Well,
Case in point.
Chase told me that.
The Hibiki.
Yes. Well, Chase told me that he had 4 bottles of McKenna. He was like, it used to be hard to find. They were just dropping like maybe 3 drops a year. And he was like, it was really hard to find. And now and by the way, I have been told, and I can't cite this because I don't have any data, but I have been told that the major distilleries, the Buffalo Traces of the world, are ramping up production. Like, I have been told that in the last 5 years, they've added additional rick houses. They're pumping this stuff out because there's a bourbon craze.
There's a bourbon thing going on right now.
Yeah, so they've been really ramping up production. So that helps. It helps with the allocated drops. It helps with that. They're not dropping twice a year. They may be dropping 4 times a year. But yeah, back to what you said about the big. I mean, I enjoy it. It's a $100 bottle.
Yeah. So the Sam's here, I saw a Hibiki for, what did I say, $74?
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Crazy.
And I would have bought one. Number one, I don't have the Sam's app on my phone. And I can't tell my wife, hey, can you give me the Sam's app? They're going to have Hibikis.
I need you to buy it.
But I also have the bottle that I bought in Dallas in October downstairs. And then I have a Hibiki Master Select, which I don't even think is as good as Harmony.
No, Harmony is amazing.
But I have the limited 2019 bottle, maybe 2018. I forgot when I worked out there in Fort Worth. It's in the closet. And I'm never going to open that.
No.
I'm just going to use it as trade.
Well, I mean, who are we kidding?
And $100 for it is worth like $1,500.
Well, I mean, the crazy thing is, it's like even like Japanese whiskey, there's just such a high increase in the secondary market that I'm not a collector, nor are you, to the best of
I'm
my
really
knowledge.
not. I don't collect.
You buy the drink.
I impulse buy. I buy the drink. That one was bought on accident, sort of. The one I bought it as a gift for a friend. Then I realized what it was. I went back and bought one for myself. But I'm probably going to use that one to pay off a debt and say, here's this bottle. Are we square?
Right. Well, my thing is like going back to Chase is hilarious. I mean, I'm down with horse trading. I mean, you tell me you're heavy in Blanton's or you're light in whatever. I don't mind coughing up a bottle to get another bottle. I mean, I did that with him. That's how I got the Colonel Taylor bottle. You know, I was like, he's like, I can take another bottle of Blanton's. Cool. Give me this, I give you that, or whatever case may be. But I understand where you're coming from because I have bottles that I'm so heavy in one bottle that as soon as someone says, hey, man, I really want that bottle, I have a bottle of this, I'm like, okay.
You offered me a bottle, I think, of Blanton's.
I did.
And I said,
you said, I don't want that shit.
It's crazy because I was aggressive in searching for the blends. Once I got all the toppers, I stopped really caring. And I was capacitated. I was fully capacitated. I was encumbered.
Yes.
With all the bottles of bourbon that I brought back from Texas.
Yeah,
So I was like, no. And then you ended up trading, I think, maybe Chase.
I did. I traded him for a bottle of Colonel Taylor's.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I when you say that, the funniest thing is that I don't know if it's because of where I'm at, where I have enough bottles that I don't need to go out and hunt anymore. But it is funny when you get to that place where you go, I kind of don't need another bottle of Blanton's, or I don't need a bottle of X.
It's weird, right? Because you think
weird.
about how aggressive you were looking for it.
I mean, I remember when I was like, so we have an employee who lives in Cincinnati. And for those who may be familiar with this or may not, Cincinnati has there's no markup rule. It's managed by the state. So there's no secondary market. You can't force the price up. So what they do is they do this lottery system. Even Kroger, like a Kroger here or wherever, if you're familiar with Kroger, they have a liquor store. Yeah. So they do a lottery-driven system to where if you get picked, you must buy the bottle, and they sell it at cost.
Kroger brand Fritos, by the way, are the best Fritos on the planet. You may
I like the fact that you...
Yeah, because we had those in Michigan. In Michigan, when I lived there for, 10, 15 years, when I worked in the Thumb, we do this based on where you live in Michigan. So when I worked in the Thumb in Bay City, Frankenmuth, there was a Kroger, and they had their special brand of Fritos, and they were a little thicker, almost like Frito scoops.
They come in but it was just plain Fritos, or was it
plain?
Okay.
For my money, plain Fritos is the best snack chip on the planet.
You have to be a minority on that.
I probably am, but if you put Lay's, Ruffles, Fritos, we're talking plain, non-flavored chips.
Yeah, non-flavored.
And maybe kettle corn, not kettle corn, but kettle chips, which I love. I'm going to grab the Fritos every time.
Okay. I always laugh because in my household, we're Fritos family, but we're a chili cheese Fritos family. I understand. But the crazy thing is, like, when you buy the variety box, that's the last bag of chips in that box.
It's first bag I grab.
Like I said, I mean, I may be wrong, but you're probably, one of 8 people.
Comment if you love Fritos.
Plain Fritos, let's be clear.
Plain Fritos, because when I was doing door-to-door sales, and we're going to wrap this up, when I was doing door-to-door sales in 1995, that's when they were experimenting with the Tabasco Fritos.
Should have never happened.
Those are great.
But
they canceled them.
Well, my thing with Tabasco is Tabasco really, to me, tastes more vinegar than anything else.
Tabasco Fritos is one of the greatest. To me, it's one of those tragedies of American culture.
And when you make a great product.
Like lemon ice Gatorade.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy they got rid of it.
In Texas, we have the Texas Twist Fritos. The tornado one. It's the one that's...
Oh, the Twist.
Yeah.
The Fritos Twist.
Yeah,
I haven't seen those in a long time.
They still go hard in Texas.
Interesting.
I know. But anyway, you're right. It is a tragedy when something like a great product just goes missing. Bring back great Pop-Tarts. I'm just saying.
All right. So with that being said, I don't really think you don't really have much of a social media footprint.
I do not. I actually intentionally avoid it.
Are you on the gram? Are you on the TikTok machine? Are you on the Facebook?
I think that I am, and I say this because it's funny when you say it out loud. I am on Instagram. I believe I'm 10vol74 on Instagram. I am still out there somewhere on Facebook. I haven't been on there in a while, but yeah, I limited my presence because at some point, I'm gonna just be blatantly honest. If you have family members that are on this social media like Facebook and Instagram who can be an embarrassment, I try to avoid that. And I have a lot of family members. I have 33 cousins.
Damn.
Yeah. And they do some, just be honest, some hood shit. I'm sorry.
I just hit the microphone.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Holloway, let's go get some dinner.
Man, let's do it.
Hey guys, I want to thank you for stopping by the podcast. If you like what you saw today, go ahead and hit that like button, hit subscribe, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. If you're streaming the audio, please consider subscribing and leaving a positive review. Believe it or not, that does help the algorithm tremendously. And if you're in a position to help the podcast upgrade, please consider joining the Patreon, patreon.com, Hard Rockin' Podcast. For as little as $3 a month, you can get access to bonus audio as well as Patreon exclusive swag and free show swag. Also, special thanks to the main show sponsors, Right Honda, Right Toyota, Toyota of Huntington Beach, Claremont Toyota, and Gardenia Honda, Arcus Foundry, Autocannon, officially licensed Honda and Acura gear. Your support makes all the difference in this show. And if this is your first time checking this out, and if you truly enjoy this show, share it with the world, and I will talk to you all next week.
Now it's stripping time.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Shut up!